Welcome back to the deep dive. We're the ones who take that source material you're curious about and really boil it down. You want the key info, the surprising bits, maybe a little humor. We give you that shortcut. Today, we're diving deep, really deep, into a world that's just, wow, packed with supernatural stuff, complex power plays, a main character who's definitely not your average hero. Our source is the Harlequin, and it drops you right into this narrative. Vampires, shapeshifters, their own weird laws. It's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. And our job today basically is to kind of peel back those layers for you. And we're going to look at the rules, the powers, what's really at stake when, you know, human and supernatural lives crash into each other. Think of it like a cheat sheet, maybe. Crash course in the world building, the metaphysics, the social stuff in this universe, giving you the essentials.
Okay, let's unpack it then. Because right at the center, you've got Federal Marshal Anita Blake. So first off, what is the Harlequin and why are they after her?
Well, to get that, you really have to understand Anita first, because she's something else. The source tells us, okay, she's a federal marshal, yeah,
Right.
but also a vampire executioner. She's licensed to, well, terminate vampires who break the law. But, and this is crucial, she's also a necromancer, like raising the dead,
Yeah.
zombies.
Okay, wow. That's quite the combo.
Exactly. And that combination puts her right smack dab in the middle of this whole supernatural society with its own very specific rules.
And it sounds like a pretty rigid structure too, right? This vampire world?
Oh, absolutely. You've got the council at the top. They're the ultimate authority. They issue these warrants of execution Anita deals with.
And then below them.
You have the master vampires, powerful figures, leaders, like Jean-Claude. He's the master of the city for St. Louis in this story.
Okay, and there's this concept, blood oathing. What's
Right.
that about?
Right, blood oathing. It's like a formal metaphysical binding. A vampire claims followers, ties them to themselves. It's serious. And interestingly, there's this character, Malcolm, who leads the Church of Eternal Life, a vampire church. He hasn't blood oathed his congregation. He specifically avoided it.
Why would he do that? Seems risky.
It is. It leaves them totally outside the usual vampire legal structure. Makes them incredibly vulnerable. But it seems like a deliberate choice, maybe for independence.
Yeah.
But yeah, huge risk in a world where those bonds often mean power and protection.
And that vulnerability, that's where the Harlequin comes in, I'm guessing.
Precisely. So, the Harlequin, who are they? Well, the source says they were created way back by Marmee Noir. She's basically the original vampire queen, the mother of all darkness.
Okay, big deal then.
Huge deal. And their original job was to police other vampires, keep them in line. They were supposed to be the impartial enforcers. They even took on this persona, the Wild Hunt, to basically scare everyone into behaving.
Impartial enforcers. But something's changed, hasn't it?
Massively changed. Traditionally, they're meant to be neutral. Dispense justice, no sides. But the big shock here is they're breaking their own rules. Badly. They're supposed to wear a white mask, metaphorically. Observe, don't interfere. But now, they're acting like red masks, getting directly involved. There are allegations, strong ones, that they're actually assassinating vampires for certain council members.
Wow. So the cops have gone rogue, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The neutral arbiters are now playing favorites, acting as assassins. It completely undermines their whole purpose, throws the whole system into chaos, really.
And their methods sound unusual, not just brute force.
Not at all. They can mess with your emotions.
Yeah.
Push you into crippling self-doubt. Anita actually calls it like emotional rape. At one point, it's that violating.
That's terrifying.
It is. And here's another weird thing. Despite being ancient, they use modern tech. Listening devices so advanced, someone notes you can't tell if it's tech or magic. That's very different from the usual ancient inherent powers vampires rely on.
Okay, so it's not just vampires, they're shapeshifters too, like anthropes.
A whole community. You've got were-leopards, werewolves, were-rats, were-lions, even swan-manes, which is, different.
G-mans, okay.
Yeah. And they have their own powers, like distinct healing abilities. But one really surprising fact the source mentions is about multiple infections.
What about them?
If someone gets bitten or attacked by lycanthropes of different strains, sometimes those strains actually cancel each other out. The person remains human.
Seriously? Like two negatives make a positive?
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's a weird, rare loophole in how lycanthropy usually works.
Yeah.
A strange quirk of this world's biology, I guess.
Wild. Okay, let's get back to Anita, because she sounds like the absolute center of all this,
Yeah.
especially with this thing called the ardor.
Ah, yes, the ardor. Okay, so initially it's explained as Anita's ability to feed on sexual energy, lust. It gives her power, but it also creates these really deep metaphysical links to people.
Okay, power from lust. Got it.
But Here's the bombshell from the source material. The ardor evolves. It changes. It can now feed on love, too.
Whoa. Love, not just lust.
Exactly. And that's huge. It completely changes the game for her connections. It means someone like Jean-Claude can now gain power directly from her deepest emotions, her love for him or others. It's a massive shift.
That sounds incredibly intimate and dangerous. Does it affect others, too?
Oh, definitely. There are consequences. Like we see one of her bodyguards, Graham, showing actual signs of addiction to it, just from minimal exposure.
Addiction to her power.
Yeah. It highlights how potent this thing is, how it can hook people, draw them in, intensifying these bonds, whether Anita fully wants it or not. It complicates everything.
And she has other unique ties, too, doesn't she? Beyond the ardor.
She does. She has Damien, a powerful vampire who's her servant bound to her. There's Nathaniel, who's a were-leopard stripper.
Stripper, okay.
Yeah, and he's her animal to call. It's another deep spiritual/power bond. She can draw strength through him. And then, because she's a necromancer, she can manifest these animal spirits inside herself. A wolf, a leopard, tiger, lioness. It seems connected to times she's been bled by those specific types of animals, like she's absorbed part of their essence.
Man, she's accumulating a lot of power.
Yeah.
And connections.
She is. But it comes at a massive cost. The emotional burden is huge. She's an executioner, right? But the source shows her really struggling because she doesn't see all vampires as monsters anymore. It makes the job morally murky.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And there's the constant threat to her, to everyone she cares about. It's relentless. Plus, internally, she's not entirely comfortable with all this power, especially the ardor and its implications.
And the relationships must be complex.
Oh, understatement of the year. She's described as having this squirming discomfort with her whole polyamorous situation. It clashes with maybe more traditional feelings she has. It's a constant internal conflict.
Let's talk about those relationships then. It sounds like a tangled web.
It really is. So you've got Jean-Claude, master vampire. He's her master lover, strategic ally. And his own power has jumped significantly since their bond deepened.
Then Nathaniel, the were-leopard, the animal to call.
Right. Nathaniel, he's also a lover. The source points out his vulnerability, his need for dominance, and even bondage in their dynamic. It's intense. And Anita struggles with it. She's kind of embarrassed by his job as a stripper, even though he's incredibly loyal and has this deep faith in her. He's often her rock emotionally.
And Richard, the werewolf.
Richard, yeah. Werewolf alpha, her ex-fiancé, but now also a lover again. He loves her deeply, that's clear. But his traditional morals, his jealousy, it tears him up.
He can't handle the other relationship.
He really struggles. The source says he's like running from himself, just unable to reconcile his feelings with the reality of her life. It's painful to watch, frankly.
Anyone else major in this group?
There's Micah, another were-leopard. He's described as her helpmate and lover. He seems to provide more practical support, a sense of stability amidst the chaos.
Okay.
And there are others sort of orbiting. Damien, her vampire servant. Asher, another vampire who's kind of an exception Jean-Claude tolerates. Requiem, a vampire who's really shaken, feels raw after encountering the Harlequin. Even Byron, a vampire stripper who experiments with Nathaniel. It's a lot of connections. Power, sex, emotion, all tangled.
It's not just lovers, though, right? There's this idea of found family.
Yes, absolutely. Edward, for instance, nicknamed the White Death. Super effective vampire hunter, federal marshal like Anita. And he's Peter's father. Peter's his teenage son.
Right.
But Edward, he's changed. The source suggests his love for his wife, Donna, and their kids has actually made him, quote, weak, less ruthless. It's a fascinating shift for someone known for being lethal.
And Peter, the son.
Peter's got his own issues. He's deeply traumatized from past abuse. And Edward makes this really questionable call to involve him in the dangerous stuff, teaching him to kill.
Yikes. That sounds problematic.
It is. And Peter develops this sort of love for Anita.
Oh.
It's hard to tell if it's real affection or just hero worship. Plus, there's a hint he might be developing lycanthropy himself. His life is just fraught.
And loyalties seem fragile everywhere.
Definitely. We see examples like Joseph, the Laurell King, just straight up refusing to help when asked. Shows the divisions. Then you have Raphael, the Warrack King, always playing angles, trying to manipulate things to benefit his own people. Politics never stops, even here.
So you've got all this building pressure, Anita's power is growing, the Harlequin going rogue, fragile alliances. It feels like something has to break.
And it does, spectacularly. The Harlequin launch a direct attack.
Where? How?
At Malcolm's church, the Church of Eternal Life. The source names two Harlequin members, Mercia and Nivea. They frame some of Malcolm's people first, then attack Anita head-on.
And they use that emotional manipulation thing.
Yeah, Mercia hits Anita hard with it, intensifies her self-doubt, tries to break her psychologically. That emotional rape Anita talked about, it's a brutal psychic warfare alongside the physical fight.
Sounds chaotic.
Utterly. Jean-Claude, Richard, Nathaniel, Damien, others, they all fight back. It's a desperate, messy battle. And during it, things get really bad.
How bad?
Richard, in a moment of, power struggle or madness, actually stabs Jean-Claude.
In the heart, his own ally.
Yeah. It leaves both of them critically wounded, near death.
Oh my God, so how do they survive?
Anita, her power, amplified by this new three-way bond, she has the triumvirate with Nathaniel and Damien. It gives her this incredible ability. She can literally siphon power from other lycanthropes nearby, like Donovan, the Swan-Mane King, and channel it to keep Jean-Claude and Richard alive. It's the only thing saving them.
Wow, talk about high stakes.
Absolutely, but there's tragedy, too. A young bodyguard, Cisco, he dies defending Anita.
Oh.
Yeah, it's rough. And it really hammers home the cost, the sacrifice involved in this life and the weight the survivors carry.
So they fight off the Harlequin, but who was really behind it?
Turns out the real mastermind, the master Harlequin, was someone named Pantalone.
Yeah.
And he was hiding in plain sight the whole time, pulling the strings.
And how does that come out?
Well, this is wild. Marmee Noire herself, the ancient vampire queen, actually shows up. Briefly, but powerfully.
The queen intervenes.
Yeah, a direct intervention. She basically calls out Pantalone for betraying the Harlequin Code, for breaking neutrality. It's a huge moment.
And they find out who hired them, the council members.
Through interrogating another Harlequin, Columbine. It's brutal, but they get names. The Master of Beasts, the Lover of Death. Powerful figures on the council implicated in the whole scheme. It blows things wide open.
So they win, technically. But it sounds like everyone's pretty scarred.
Deeply scarred.
Yeah.
Physically. Yeah. Anita needs to heal. Peter's recovery is slow. Richard gets these permanent silver scars. Horrible reminders.
And emotionally.
Even worse, maybe. Peter's trauma is still there, unresolved. Richard is just wrecked by jealousy and his internal conflicts. And Anita, she's still grappling with her powers, her relationships, the morality of it all.
And the political fallout.
Huge. The Vampire Council is split now, big time, over Jean-Claude and his growing power base. Alliances across the entire supernatural community are being reevaluated. The victory didn't solve everything. In some ways, it just created new problems, new tensions.
What really strikes me here is how tangled everything becomes. Power, who you are, the choices you make. It all gets amplified when the basic rules of reality are, well, different.
Exactly. This deep dive really shows that, doesn't it? Even when you're dealing with vampires and magic and, we're animals, the biggest fights often seem to be the internal ones. Wrestling with your abilities, the price of your connections.
So what does it all mean then? If power can literally feed on love, if loyalty is a force you can actually wield, what does that tell us about what holds us together or tears us apart? In any world, really, not just this fictional one.
It definitely makes you think, doesn't it? Poses a fascinating question, maybe. If you lived in a world like that, where your very emotions, your love, could give someone else power, how incredibly careful would you have to be about who you chose to let into your heart?
That is something to chew on. A really interesting thought to leave things on after this dive.